Hello students. So today's topic is immunity. So this is from the chapter human health and diseases. Okay. So lecture on is completed already. So this is the second one. So remaining part will be finished in this lecture. Okay. So immunity first of all. So immunity. What is actually immunity? From previous study like in class 9, 10, you have studied about something like immunity. So this is actually resistance of the body system of our body system against any foreign particle, foreign molecule, or foreign organisms. Means inside our body there are many organisms. Okay, inside like gastrointestinal tract we have some organisms, microorganisms especially. Okay, and not only limited to that part, in other parts also inside our body system, somewhere else, some in some locations. Okay, in some organs or tissues some organisms do exist. Okay, but these are not harmless, sorry, these are not harmful. Okay, so these are not harmful, actually they help in the maintenance of our body physiology, normal body physiology. Okay, so these are actually involved in some beneficial role inside our body. So that is fine, but if some foreign organism that is hazardous to our human system, human body system, that if that enters our body system, then it can cause some disease or disorder inside our body. So these are the actually pathogens. Okay, those organisms which causes disease condition in our body. So when we face those organisms or those some macromolecules, okay, some foreign molecules that causes diseases inside our body, so the resistance against these molecules or these organisms is actually the immunity. So immunity is very important inside our body to maintain is its healthy condition. Like think of some organism, microorganism especially. Okay, so microorganism that could cause a disease in our body. So when it enters, what our immunity system does, so immunity system starts making some form of macromolecules inside our body that can counterattack the molecules present in the foreign microorganism or the hazardous microorganism or maybe hazardous macromolecule. Okay, that's the purpose of the immunity of our immunity system. Okay, so this is the immunity. So now immunity actually two types: innate immunity and the acquired immunity. So we need to know both. So innate immunity, actually the immunity type of immunity which are actually achieved or which are actually transmitted. The characteristic of this innate immunity actually transferred from parental organism to its progeny or offspring. Means whatever human beings are there, whosoever is there, there is a specific type of immunity inside their body that is in general form. Okay, that innate immunity is not actually focused on specific microorganism or specific macromolecules. Okay, these are in general form. They could cause reaction towards any foreign hazardous macromolecule or microorganism. Okay, so that is the innate immunity. So actually innate immunity, where is the location? So you can think like skin. Okay, so skin is covering the body inside of body, right, covering the inside organs of our body system. Okay, but what happens actually in the if we see the anatomical structure of the skin, we can easily see the structures that are involved in innate immunity. Means there are some tissues, there are some cells in the skin that acts as immunity system that works for innate immunity. Okay, so likewise many other parts or many other organs inside our body is also having same type of tissues or cells that can act against foreign hazardous macromolecule or microorganism. Okay, so this is the innate immunity. And now coming to acquired immunity. So in case of acquired immunity, this is actually made after born. Okay, in case of innate immunity, that is from born is itself. Okay, from the birth itself we have this innate immunity system inside our body in various organs or tissue systems that can act against foreign microorganism or foreign macromolecules. But in case of acquired immunity, what happens when we are exposed to some hazardous macromolecule or microorganisms, we start to prepare some specific type of immunity for that microorganism only. Okay, so limited to that organism, working or acting against those specific microorganism or macromolecules. That is actually the acquired immunity. Okay, so these are actually specific in nature. So the major difference is innate immunity in general it is working. Okay, and in case of acquired immunity, it is very specific to some specific microorganism or macromolecules. Okay, another thing is innate immunity is actually from the birth itself it is present. It's actually acquired after birth, facing or exposing to some specific microorganism or macromolecules. That is the acquired immunity. Okay, this is the major differences. Okay, we will go forward. So here the same thing whatever I have discussed already. So innate immunity they are saying about. So some examples are there. There are some examples they have given. Okay, so we need to see, like, see, physical barriers I have discussed, skin like structures. Okay, skin on our body. Okay, this is actually physical barrier, means microorganism cannot penetrate, okay, through the skin. This is like a mucus coating of the epithelium lining the respiratory. Okay, imagine respiratory tract is there. Okay, all like a structure, and that all is surrounded by actually mucus epithelium, mucus layer. That mucus is actually protecting some microorganisms to enter. Okay, protecting from the entering of microorganisms. Okay, that like that. Another thing is the gastrointestinal tract. Okay, the free space is there is also a mucus layer. Okay, and urogenital tract. Okay, that is also same. And the next one is the physiological barrier. So physiological barrier in case of like acid in the stomach, we know the pH of the stomach is 1.5, right? So in case of pH 1.5, what it does actually, whenever the microorganism or some molecule enters inside the stomach, so stomach pH is very low. That means very acidic. So what it does, this acidic pH kills most of the microorganisms. So it is very helpful, right? So foreign microorganisms got killed. That is the advantage. Like saliva in the mouth. Okay, so this also carries some form of antibody. And tears from the eyes all present microbial growth, all prevent microbial growth. Okay, so the next one is the cellular barrier. So cellular barrier, in case of cellular barrier, certain types of leukocytes, means WBC, okay, of our body, like polymorphonuclear leukocyte, PMNL, polymorphonuclear leukocyte, neutrophil and monocytes, and these are the natural killer cells. Okay, so this also kills microorganisms. And the next one is the cytokine barriers. Okay, so these are actually in general, like interferon is also there. Interferon is like is actually a type of protein that is released by the infected cell. Virus infected cell releases interferon like protein. Okay, so that also helps in innate immunity. That is done. So the next one is the acquired immunity. Acquired immunity, how it is achieved, How is it achieved? I have discussed. Okay, so in case of acquired immunity, we see like two type of antibody is formed. So actually B lymphocyte and T lymphocyte. Okay, so two type of lymphocyte is involved mostly in case of acquired immunity. One is B lymphocyte, another one is T lymphocyte. So B lymphocyte, in case of B lymphocyte, it produces some form of antibodies. What? It produces some form of antibodies. Okay, so antibodies, what is actually antibody? So antibody is nothing but the macromolecule that is formed inside our body against antigens. Okay, so antigens actually the macromolecules that is from outside enters our body and causes some disease or disorder condition, that is the antigen. So against antigen, whatever the macromolecules is formed inside our body, that is antibody. Okay, so antibody is produced by B lymphocyte. Okay, so what is the name? B lymphocyte. Okay, so B lymphocyte helps in the production of antibody. Another one is the T lymphocyte. So T lymphocyte actually involves not directly the antibody producing, but it helps in producing some form of antibody from B cell. Okay, by B cell. So the next one is the immunoglobulin. So immunoglobulin actually the chemical name of antibody actually the immunoglobulin. So immunity is there, immunity system, it is involved in immunity system, and immunoglobulin is named. Okay, globulin. So globulin is actually the protein, a type of protein, globulin, that is involved in the immunity system. Okay, so immunoglobulin, there are so many type of immunoglobulin. That is, immunoglobulin is written as Ig, capital I, small g. So Ig, IgA, okay, IgD, IgE, and IgG, and IgM. Okay, so IgM is pentamer. Okay, so placenta means inside the uterus. Okay, so placenta is formed during pregnancy. So what happens? Immunoglobulin G only is this is the only antibody which can enter placenta, through the placenta. Okay, through the placenta means it can go from mother body to the fetus body, right? Through the placenta. Only immunoglobulin G, we need to remember that. And immunoglobulin M is the pentamer, it is formed in pentamer. Okay, and another thing is we need to remember that immunoglobulin A is present in the colostrum. Colostrum means the first milk that is released from the breast after childbirth. You got? After childbirth, the first milk that is released is actually known as colostrum, and colostrum is rich in immunoglobulin A. Okay, and TR also carries immunoglobulin A. Immunoglobulin E actually involved in allergic reaction. Okay, so immunoglobulin E is involved in allergic reaction. Immunoglobulin E. And immunoglobulin D is related to mast cell. Mast cell is actually involved in some form of immunity system. Okay, so that is done. Okay, two chain is there in immunoglobulin structure, means antibody structure. One is light chain, one is heavy chain. Actually light chain is very small in structure, okay, very limited part, and heavy chain is longer in length. Okay, so here you can see immunoglobulin structure. So light chain, actually the light chain is written the left side and right side on. Two light chain is there and two heavy chain. Heavy chain is the longer structure. Heavy chain is having two color, that is orange and another is blue. Okay, so orange and blue is connected, that part is actually heavy chain. And with that heavy chain, light chain is there in both side. So light chain, in case of light chain, you can see disulfide linkage is there. So inside the light chain, disulfide linkage there. In between light chain and heavy chain, that is also disulfide linkage. Okay, actually See, immunoglobulin, I have said immunoglobulin, and globulin means it is a protein. So protein means amino acid, and amino acid means it can have some form of sulfur, right? Because some amino acid, we know that some amino acid is having sulfur moiety, okay, sulfur element. So here disulfide linkage is formed between two amino acid, okay. So two light chain, two heavy chain. In between light chain and heavy chain, disulfide linkage is present, okay. So another thing is written, you can see antigen binding site. So antigen binding site, actually antibody reacts with antigen. So antigen binds with little part of light chain and heavy chain, okay, common part, only a limited part of the light chain and heavy chain that is involved in binding of antigen, okay, that is the antigen binding site, okay. The remaining part is named as or known as constant region, because that is not changing. The antigen binding site is changeable. So and if antigen binding site is changeable, means which type of antigen will bind to that location is specific or varies to from one antibody to another antibody, right? Okay, that's why antigen binding site is changeable. The structure is changeable, it can change. So now coming to the active and passive immunity. Wait. Okay, so this one. So this one, the active and passive immunity. So active immunity means microorganism or the foreign particle, means antigen, we can now say antigen. So antigen enters inside our body, the body is actively producing some form of antibody, okay. So antigen is enters, reacting to the antigen, antibody is formed inside our body, that is active immunity, okay. So that is the active immunity. But passive, in case of passive immunity, we are giving antibody from outside. What we are giving out, we are providing some antibody from outside, like antibody is formed in some some patient, okay. That antibody is collected, and that antibody is now entered to the, some healthy person. So this is the passive immunity, okay. Directly antibody is provided, okay. So that is the passive immunity. But if actively body is making the antibody, then it is the active immunity. Like in case of you can think snake bite. So what happens, snake after snake bite, means some antigen was there, and the snake bite means okay. So after what happens, after that what happens, antigen got inside our body. Now we need antibody, but we need quick response. So the body will make the antibody, but it will take some time, but we don't have that time. So what do? We give some antibody to the patient directly in their blood. So this is the passive immunity, okay. Okay, done. But if in case of vaccination, so vaccination, what actually we do? In case of vaccination, we give some form of antigen inside the human body, that is less potent, but it can act as an antigen. It is it can induce induce, okay, for the production of antibody, but it cannot cause disease in the body. That is the vaccination. Then later on the vaccination, okay. So immunization and vaccination. So this is the after vaccination, immunized means antibody is formed inside the body, so it is immunized already. So this is the vaccination. So in case of vaccination, I am repeating, in case of vaccination, we can give active antigen inside the body, but it can produce disease. That's why what we do, inactive or the less potent antigen is given to the patient, and with response to that, the body will make now antibody, that is the vaccination. Okay, so the next one is the allergy. So allergy reaction means we are actually, some people, not all, some people only, some people faces problem, some pieces reacts to some foreign particles. Okay, chain of reactions is occurring inside the body in response to some foreign particles by some patient, that is the actually allergy. So whenever that patient faces that foreign particle, they starts producing some antibody, so they will respond, they are reacting, their body system is reacting to that foreign particles repeatedly and very quickly, that is the allergic reaction. Okay, so if we don't come across those foreign particle, that specific foreign particle, we will not have any reactions, we will not have any problem. But whenever we come to that foreign particle, the allergic reaction will be expressed. So in to minimize the allergic reaction, we provide antihistamine, because histamine is involved in allergic reaction. Histamine is helping the allergic reaction, so we need to stop. So if we want to stop the allergic reaction, we supply antihistamine, that is blocking the histamine. Okay, so this is the procedure. So I think this is up to this only. This is this lecture 2. In the remaining lecture I will cover remaining part. Okay, thank you.